Good evening, everybody, to a absolutely soaking wet Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City for MRC X-Treme. It is the fifth and final race of the week here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City. It is our no assist series, and they have got an absolutely soaking wet qualifying. And in the comms box alongside me, just as he was for X on Friday at the start of the race week, it is LRL, also known as Stefan. How are you?
I'm very good. Yeah, we're back. What can I say? As you said, we already did it on Friday. I'm very happy we have the chance to do it again. And yeah, it's
Yeah,
really wet. It looks like full wet.
it does look like full
Yeah,
wet conditions. The spray is going to be absolutely ridiculous. So all the best to everybody in this qualifying session as we get our stuff up. And the first car on track is the Haas of Mr. Bailey. It is full wets, so I'm not expecting drivers to be going in and out of the garages this session. They'll be putting plenty of fuel in those cars and just doing lap after lap after lap, trying to shift as much water as they possibly can. The full wets, I don't know exactly how much of the standing water those tyres can shift, but let's just say it is a lot. We didn't have a race in X-Treme in Texas last week due to lack of numbers, so we've got nothing from last week, so it's straight into this one, and we'll go on board with Chris as he's going through the stadium section on his way to his first of what is going to be probably many laps in these conditions, as he takes it nice and easy at the stadium section onto the final corner. No DRS due to wet conditions, so it's just pure pace alone. So he's making his way down the start finish straight towards turn 1. Plenty of spray coming off those full wet tyres as he enters turn 1. Trying to find the grip, brakes a little bit late, but keeps it within limits. It's all about just feeling out at this stage. Goes through the first 3 corners. Gets a bit of a tow from the car in front as he enters turn 4. Taking it gingerly at the moment in this session. Trying to be careful of the grip. Looks nice and tidy through there as he enters the S's. Still not quite the grip that he wants at the moment in the early stages of this session, but keeping it tidy. As he's making his way towards the stadium section. Just keeps it within track limits on the way in. Nursing the throttle. Comes out the stadium section into the final corner. Backhand wants to come out on traction, but he holds it. And he goes to the line and sets a 30.3 to get this session underway in these appalling conditions, as Baby Hornet sets a 32.6 for his opening lap, but I'm pretty sure most of the drivers on track have got plenty of laps of fuel in and just going to be going round and round and round, getting the feel.
Some have chosen the intermediate tires.
Have they? Let's have a look. Single tracks on full wets. Actually, let's get the tyres up very quickly so we can have a look. Oh, you're right. So, at this moment in time, Chris, Baby Hornet, Single Track Smith, Rassam, B17 as Soze goes quickest with a 30.3 to take it off of Chris at this early stages. We've got Armor, Ben, Lorpy, Saviour and Jules on the intermediates. The rest are on full wet, so that's going to be interesting to see throughout this session. As we'll watch Single Track as he's coming through the middle sector. Bobo has slotted himself P4. Those 5 that set times. There's Jules, 28.9. That's on the intermediates. That's going to be interesting for everybody else to see. As Saviour also with a... As Chris goes slightly quicker, he's gone into the 29s. He's 29.0 on his second run. But Saviour and Jules really making people guess at this stage. The intermediate runners. As we're watching Single Track taking it cautiously to the end of his lap, and he slots it into P7 on a 31.7. But at this moment in time, most drivers are trying to get a feel for the conditions, find where the grip is. We'll jump to Ben as he's coming to the end of his lap. He's on the intermediates and tends to be one of the top drivers in this. He goes 27.9. He's almost a second quicker than Jules. That's phenomenal pace. So maybe those on the full wets will probably be looking at the intermediates to probably come in and swap over.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how the weather develops. As there could be changes.
Well, there's plenty of water being shifted throughout this session, that's for sure. There's the wet tyres shifting the most, the inters then taking a little bit more, but it does look like the intermediate tyres are probably the tyre to be on. But it could be a bit nip and tuck in these early stages, so we'll see as we go on. Let's have a little look at Jules as he's gone through the first 3 corners. Fighting for traction out of corners in these wet conditions on the intermediates. Must be a real challenge to drive in wet conditions with no assist, especially from my point of view with being an ABS user.
Yeah, braking in wet conditions is extremely difficult. You have very low grip. The tires are locking up much easier, and also the wear can get a bit loose very easily, so yeah, that's not very easy.
Jules 9/10 up coming into the stadium section, so he's almost looking at taking a second off his first run. A little bit slidey on the way out of the stadium section, but keeps it pointing in the right direction. A 27.0. He takes 1.9 seconds off of his earlier time to take current pole position. Saviour currently on the front row with him. Ben down to third on only his first run. Soze's on his way out again. He's on the wet tyres still. B17, let's see how he's doing in the other Red Bull. He's got a Haas directly behind him. He's on full wet tyres. B17. Him and Smith, the drivers racing in X-Treme, so it'll be between those two for the tier 3 cars to see who can outdo each other, as Ben goes for a 26.2 on the intermediates in these conditions. He's really setting the cat amongst the pigeons with his pace. As B17 is taking it cautiously, but I think that's Chris in the Haas behind, because it's the only Haas in this session. As I think the V-Carb had a bit of a slide Looks like Chris on the intermediate tyres now as well, as he gets right up behind B17 with a good run, but B17 down in P12. Chris goes on a flyer, so we'll jump towards him. Currently P5 on a 29.0. Finally switched to the intermediates after what he's seen from the likes of Ben and Jules and Saviour. So let's see what Chris can do on the intermediates. It's his first lap round. He's 2/10 up out of sector 1. Keeps it in track limits. Track limits are very key in the middle part of the lap. Most of the places where you can exceed is mainly in that middle. Speaking of that, Chris he's gone over the limit slightly and it's impeded him, so this lap will not count. So he'll be going again, but he was over a second up out of sector 2, so he'll be keeping those momentum to go again. Let's have a look at Baby Hornet in the McLaren on an outlap. He too on the intermediate tyres now. Currently P7 as he's trying to find the grip with these tyres. Definitely have to stay on a set line with the inters. You don't want to go offline because it looks very, very wet still offline. As he's fighting for grip out the final corner, and again as he goes over the line to start another flying lap. So we'll watch his progress to see what he can do. Currently down in P7, down to P8 with a few movers as he comes towards the timing line for the first sector just before turn 4. 3/10 up currently. If anyone is racing could let us know what the conditions are going to be for the race, that would be lovely. As Baby Hornet weaving his way through the S's in the middle part of the lap. Sticking to the grippiest line possible. Bit of a slide, but holds it. Looks nice and tidy on the way out of the stadium section. Round the final corner, and Baby Hornet improves by 1.8 seconds, putting him up to P5. We'll jump back to Chris now, who's having another go. He invalidated his last time around. Back end wants to come out, but keeps it in check. Some great car control from many of the drivers out on track in these conditions. Near enough everybody has had no wet running whatsoever. Most of the races so far in MRC around Mexico have been dry, as Chris is looking to really improve as he comes round the final corners, taking the tightest line possible, and goes on a 26.5 to go on the front row alongside Ben in second. Great lap by Chris. Let's find somebody further down. Let's give Lorpy a bit of air time as he's coming through the middle sector in the Alpine. Currently down in 10th. Currently on a 29.3. Representing Tier 2 in X-Treme. As Saviour goes to the top on a 25.7. times are really coming down now as the track improves.
I was about to say that. I mean, with all due respect to Xavier, but if you go half a second quicker than Ben, it's probably down to the track improving.
As
I mean,
Ant goes, sorry to butt in, Stefan, Ant goes P6 on his first run of the entire session. He's left it till very late to come out. Looks tied it. What's your opinion on driving in the wet then, Stefan? Do you like it? Or you're not too keen on wet races?
oh, I like it a lot. I'm a bit sad that it has become, yeah, a little bit rare on this game. Usually, I was quite fast, especially on the inters. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not that common anymore in the games. I mean, it's just realistic. I mean, over a season in F1, within 24 races, you have maybe a handful of wet races. So it's not unrealistic. But yeah, I really like it. Also because you don't have these DRS trains anymore, and you can go down to raw pace anymore, and you'll be rewarded for taking the risk if you do it well.
Yeah, I enjoy the wet conditions because it's like a neutralizer. You could be in the dry, one of the slowest drivers in the dry conditions, but if you find that comfort and rhythm in the wet, whereas others can't, it can really flip things on its head. Because I found out many times throughout MRC that the rain can be a very big difference maker, because you got those that feel comfortable in it, those that do not, and we get some really interesting results as everyone is either getting ready for their final attempts or on their final attempts, as we're following Ben through the middle sector on what will be his last run, because the checker flag will come out before he gets there. So let's see what he can do as he comes on his way out of the stadium section. Checker flag is out, so everybody who crossed the line before it went out gets another try as Ben comes to the line to do a 24.475 to take provisional pole position.
That's restoring the usual order, I think.
Yeah, it's quite a hefty benchmark for everybody else. So I'll jump to Jules, who's the closest one to him in the timings, on a 25.1, as he's making his way towards the stadium. He's 2/10 up. As long as he keeps it tidy, he'll hold on to that front row position, as I think Saviour's had a bit of a moment, so I think he's nailed in for third place as Jules comes to the line. 24.9 keeps him in second place, as Saviour has had a moment, so he's going to stay in third. Single track will now come to the line, but will stay 9th. B17 stays down in 14th. So pole position goes to Ben with his 24.475, and Jules will be alongside him on that front row. But you don't always want to be on the front row here with the long run drag race turn 1. I would say the second row is your safer bet, which is currently occupied by Saviour and Chris in third and fourth. Those two never too far apart from each other, whether it's in X-Treme or Tier 1. So, possible fireworks there between these two. I don't mean in the bad kind, the good kind, because they always put on a good show when they're both on track with each other. So now we'll go for a brief break between qualifying and the race. So we'll run through the grid order. Ben takes pole position, Jules will be second, Saviour third, Chris fourth, Bobo fifth, Baby Hornet sixth, Rassam seventh, Soze 8th, Single Track 9th, Ant rounds out the top 10, Lorpy 11th, Armar 12th, Smith 13th, and then the final runner, B17 in 14th. So now the drivers get a chance to go have their toilet breaks, have a quick drink before they go racing, and also think about strategy. But the question is, though, is it wet or is it dry? We'll find out. And it's dry. Bright sunshine for the race. So, complete flip in contrast to what we just seen during qualifying. So, it'd be interesting to see that most of those drivers in qualifying will probably run in dry setups. But it may look dry now, but we don't know what it could happen later on in the race.
Race at least at the start. Yeah, it would have been interesting to see the guys in the wet.
At least we got to see what
they had something similar in Tier 1. They had a wet qualifying, although it was drying up in at the end of the session. But yeah, dry race. So I'm guessing the drivers opted for a dry setup, not a wet setup.
Speaking of Tier 1 during the break, how did you get on Monday? Because I asked you on Friday, what did you think to Mexico? And it's one of the tracks you like. So how did Monday go for you?
Well, as I said, it was wet in the qualifying session, and that went really well. For most of the session, I could stay in the top 5 in the quality session. But then it dried up in the end, and you had just one single shot on the dries, and the lap wasn't perfect. It was still P7. I think it was my best qualifying result this season, so I was happy with that. But yeah, unfortunately, I was very unlucky at the start in turn 4. I got hit from behind, and I was spun around, and I was in last place. So had to fight back after that, and in the end, I could secure a point at least. So yeah, it's actually the first one for me this season. So I'm really relieved.
So yeah, definitely a positive for you if it's the first points for you this season. So definitely some positives for you to carry on into Brazil, which will be the next round.
Yes, I mean, it's a bit less pressure knowing that I already scored now, and there's no danger that I will end up without any points. But yeah, a bit more was possible. I don't know about Brazil. Always interesting races there. So, yeah.
Yeah, with the as we know, it's a dry start to this. I reckon there'll be quite a lot of drivers probably starting on that medium tyre, and because most drivers throughout the week have started on the medium tyre. Some people have opted for the hards, but the difference in pace at the start, just there's quite a contrast between the two tyres, so I'd expect most drivers at the start here to play the safer option and take the mediums off the line and probably do their final stint on the hard tyres, especially with the lifespan of the hards. They don't seem to wear out very quickly at all. They seem to last quite long, and from what I worked out when on the hard tyres myself, whether it was on the practice session on Thursday or Sunday or on the race in Tier 2 on Monday, I was only putting about 1% a lap on those hard tyres. They were not wearing away much at all. They felt like they could keep going. So maybe some of the drivers will, if they're stuck in a train or in traffic, will probably look at trying an undercut and probably forcing other drivers' hands to try and get that position through that way. But time will tell. As we are about to go on formation, so we'll have a quick look at who's on what. Majority of the people on mediums: Jules, Saviour, Chris, Bobo, Baby, Hornet, Soze, Single Track, Ant, Lorpy and B17 on the medium tyres. Rassam, Armar, Smith on the hards. But the most interesting one is our pole sitter, Ben. He's gone for the softs. Now, from what I can remember, those softs do not last much at all around here, so he's going to be opting for the quick getaway and open up that gap early.
Yeah, it's as you said, they are not lasting very long, so it's very interesting that he's choosing a different strategy, and it's indeed important that he gets away quickly. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure he has the potential to do so with his astonishing pace.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to be hanging around neither on this formation lap. Neither. He's took it quite quickly. Didn't want to take the leisurely route. He's gone for a quick formation lap. So before you know it, we're already back at the start line to get this race underway. So everybody will be parking up in their grid slots to get this race, as Ben's slightly overjudged his parking, so he's been set back by the game. Baby Hornets missed his as well, and B17 towards the back as we get ready for the 5 red lights. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, 5, and we're racing in Mexico for the final time with MRC X-Treme. It's a very, very good start for Ben on those soft tyres, utilising them well, but the slipstream behind Saviour and Chris from the second row already up to second and third respectively, as it's getting real tight towards theirs. Bobo getting a bit out of shape out of turn 3, but holds it. Still jostling for position further back, but Ben really using those soft tyres to his advantage to try and pull away as soon as possible. He's already got a second to Saviour as they enter the second sector. Plenty of position changes so far on this opening lap. Chris and Saviour and Chris up 1, Jules down 2, Hornets up 1, Bobo's down 1, Soze's gained 1, Ant's gained 2, so is Armar, Rassam's down 2. Lorpy is stationary in his starting position, single track. Biggest loser down 3, B17 up 1 and Smith down 1. Those are your position changes on the start of this one. And as we say, Ben is not wasting any time. He's absolutely bolting on those soft tyres. 1.6 seconds out in front with DRS being enabled on this opening lap, on the second lap. But they will not have it until the DRS zone in the second sector towards the end of the towards the start of the third. So I think the main focus at the moment is going to be this battle from second down, because Ben really using the soft tyres early in this stint to full effect as Saviour a bit wide. Hopefully he didn't get a warning there for himself, especially in these early stages, because it's 36 laps as Chris is looking to be a little bit under pressure from Jules behind, as we have DRS coming through here. But the crucial one is down towards turn 1. Chris looks to be under more pressure from Jules than Chris pressuring Saviour, as Ben sets a 17.1. Jules is looking real racy on Chris. He's looking to the right hand side, to the inside for turn 1, and he's using Saviour to get a bit of a tow as well. Side by side into turn 1 for Chris and Jules, but side by side as well into turn 2. Chris has got 3 seconds for track limits, and I think there was a slight bit of contact there, but both cars carrying on. Chris doesn't look happy about something, letting himself shown with a little bit of a weave. So Chris will be a bit fired up and wanting to get back in the fight again. Got a few trains forming. Obviously we've got Ben out in front on his own on those soft tyres. Nearly not far off 2.5 seconds, but around about 2 seconds now. He's lost quite a bit. So those softs are going to start dropping off real. Crawl that gap down. As we have Baby Hornet now with Bobo just behind, as they are on the back of Chris. Both of them having a bit of luck, but Bobo's going to have a look at Baby Hornet into turn 1. Baby Hornet holds it around the outside for turn 2 and holds position. That gap to Ben in the lead is definitely coming down. Those soft tyres not at their best now. Let's have a look at the other train that's going off. We've got Soze just dropped out a second advance and looking to close down towards that pack of Saviour down. As Soze's got Rassam for company, who's recently picked up 3 seconds himself. But we will jump to the cars at the front, as Jules will be looking to attack Saviour down towards turn 1 as Ben's pitted to get off the... Yep.
I was about to say, his tyres are already looking as if they're dropping off, and yeah, 5 laps in the top 5 before he's forced to pit. So yeah, really not a nice tire to race on, and he's got the mediums now. It will be interesting to see how he does on them. Oh, that Baby Hornet completely outdrove himself there.
Oh yeah, he's dropped down to P6. Yeah. I'm guessing that was in a scrap with Chris and Bobo, because he was P4 or P5, I think, because he's dropped behind Ant as well, so probably P4 at the time.
Yeah, it was just too late on the brakes there, and then he locked.
Yeah, easily done. He's still within DRS of Ant, so he's still within that train. So hopefully he can get a little bit closer. Saviour and Jules opening a gap to Chris. Saviour will be looking to make a move down towards turn 1. Jules defends the inside, making Saviour go around the outside, but it's candy from a baby for Saviour around the outside into turn 1, even before he made the corner. And he'll have DRS as well on the run down to turn 4. But Bobo is now ahead of Chris. Made the move the same time that Saviour did on Jules. So Bobo finds himself in 3rd. Six laps in. Ben's already making moves as he's made his way past Smith. As you said, Stefan is now on the medium tyres as Smith's dropped it on those hards. He'll get going again. Solid job for Smith earlier on in tier 3, so I'll just get that straight out there. Now Ben will be looking to chase down B17. But it'll be interesting to see what Ben decides to do, because medium tyres won't make it to the end from here, so he's going to be forced into making a second stop. So we'll see what he can do later on, as Single Track has got past Lorpy for P9. But at this moment in time it is Rassam leading tier 2, because he's the highest tier 2 driver. Sat in P6 with Baby Hornet for company. We'll jump back to the front 5, still led by Saviour, with Jules, Bobo, Chris and Ant behind. As Ben's making rapid headway, as he's near enough caught the back of B17. But we'll carry on with this top 5. DRS open for everybody behind Saviour. Bobo tucked up in the slipstream of Jules, but not close enough to make any move. So the Mercedes stays behind the RB.
Oh, no, this is so good. I was thinking of an attack on Jules, but he was better off it.
He's definitely making sure Jules knows he's there, keeping him guessing. But the problem is,
of course, show yourself in the mirror, show that you're aggressive and committed, stand it. Maybe put him under pressure in order for him to do a mistake. But for example here, he slightly outbroke himself in the slow stadium section, and now it's really close.
oh, I think that's B17 who's brought a yellow flag out in the middle sector.
Yeah.
Sorry to butt in, Stefan. He's lining a move up into turn 1, is Bobo, and that's the Mercedes up into second place ahead of the RB. And Bobo will have DRS, so he'll be able to close up to Saviour ever so slightly and drag Jules along with him. Baby Hornet's gone over track limits and got himself 3 seconds, as it looks like B17's in the pits for repairs in his Red Bull. I think the likes of Chris and Ant towards the back of this train of 5 are probably playing the long game and it wouldn't surprise me if either one of them decide to pull an undercut and try and force the hand of Saviour, Bobo or Jules ahead of them, try and force them into an early stop as well. But Chris is really on the back of Jules, so this probably could be a change of position. Chris hooked up behind the RB but unable to make any headway, and is a great scrap further back with Rassam and Hornet, as Hornet goes around the outside of Rassam for P6. Those two having a great scrap. Hornet in the McLaren, Rassam in the Alpine. British team versus French team, as we have a yellow flag. That's on the exit of turn 3. That's not Lorpy, I think that is single track, I think. Yeah. In his Williams. It looks like Baby Hornet. Yes, Baby Hornet's had a moment, because I noticed Rassam move up to P6. Baby Hornet's had a moment in the S's and is missing an M plate. And that's dropped him behind Soze, as Jules has picked up 3 seconds now in that battle with the top 5. Baby Hornet struggling with the M plate missing on the left hand side of that McLaren, as he dives straight in for the pitch, so that'll be hard tyres for Baby Hornet going on when he makes his way out. As we're having a look at Bobo in second, and Chris has got another 3 seconds, so that's 6 seconds in total for Chris now, as he's dropped off a little bit from Jules, Bobo and Saviour ahead of him. Ant keeping in company though. They're got a 4-second gap to Rassam in 6th, so there's not much pressure behind for the likes of Ant. He can just sit there playing the waiting game, which is one of his strongest assets. Ant, he's a very patient driver. He'll just happily sit behind you, either force you into a mistake or wait until the perfect chance to make the move, as he has done. He's gone past Chris. What's happened to Chris? I think he's had a moment in the stadium section, because he's absolutely plummeted. He's now going into the pit, and that'll be hard tyres on the Haas. So we'll jump back up to Bobo, who's overtook Saviour around the outside for the lead. So Bobo ahead in the Mercedes, ahead of Saviour in the Sauber. Still a long way to go. It's only lap 12 of 36. Still plenty can happen, as we know with racing. I wish people would use that nickname. But anyway, hi Connor. No more soggy biscuit nickname, please.
Why is he in the comment section and not on track though?
Connor, ooh. I would pay to watch Connor try no assist. That's a thing.
Yes.
I would pay to watch Connor try no assists.
Me too. I mean, we know what he can do in the commentary section, but we want to see what he can do on track.
Saviour lines up the place and gets it, as Jules is now pitted from what would have been 3rd place, so Ant up to 3rd, keeping Saviour and Bobo for company in the battle for the top places. You could see Rassam just in the back of shot, the Alpine. Nearly 5 seconds behind these 3. But whilst everything's going on, Ben plucking away on those medium tyres that he put on, I think on the end of lap 5 onto lap 6, now finds himself P5. But I don't think those mediums will get to the end. He will probably have to stop again, so he's pushing on as much as he can. Lorpy picks up 3 seconds. We'll jump back to the front as Saviour's dived in, and so's Bobo, but Ant carries on. So Ant will take the lead on lap 14. A Ferrari leading in Mexico. We've seen that before this year with the Ferrari 1-2 in the real life Mexico Grand Prix. Sainz leading home Leclerc. No, sorry, it was no, it wasn't a Ferrari 1-2. Sorry, just clicked in my mind. Lando Norris got second because Leclerc had a moment. But we still had a Ferrari win that day. Could we have another? Can Ant emulate Carlos Sainz? A possibility. There's Saviour and Bobo still close together after coming out of the pits. Find themselves behind Jules. So Jules has jumped Bobo and Saviour after their stops. Jules pitting earlier than the two of them, finds himself now ahead of them. As Ant is now in for his stop on lap 14 onto 15, single track, 3 seconds, and Rassam carries on. So Rassam leads, Ben goes through as well into second. But we're going to stick following Saviour as he will have DRS on Jules. So he'll be reeling in that RB. Ant will come out behind the Mercedes, but ahead of Chris by some margin.
Yeah, Chris dropped back quite a lot actually.
I don't think the moment he had on before entering the pits probably helped, so
No,
he's going to be
not.
pushing as hard as he possibly can.
I think he's got 6 seconds already, so
Yeah, he's got those 6 seconds to carry over as well.
part of the race. And on the other hand, is in a very good position. He is able to stick with the DRS train ahead of him. Although Bobo dropped out of
Bobo's dropped out of it a little bit, so he's going to come under pressure from Ant, who's got the fresher tyre of these 4. As the likes of Rassam, Ben and Armar carry on again. And DRS open on the Ferrari will slowly close in the Mercedes as just ahead. Saviour in the Sauber takes P4 from Jules in the RB. So Sauber back ahead of RB. Jules, the worst tyres out the 4 because he pitted before the likes of Saviour, Bobo and Ant. But he's keeping Saviour in close proximity as the two of them slowly but surely ease away from Bobo, who's under constant pressure from Ant in the Ferrari, who's right up the diffuser of the Mercedes coming into the stadium section. Ant taking a slightly different line to get a better drive through the corner. And he's now going to be hooked up behind the Mercedes, getting as much of the tow as possible when DRS opens. There it is. He's right up the back of the Mercedes, pulls to the right hand side, drives through with ease with the DRS, and that's up into P6 ahead of Bobo now. And as we saw that, Saviour also took Armar, who's now lost the position to Jules as well. Armar playing the safe game. He's on the hard tyres that he started on, which explains why he's still going on lap 17. Still second in Tier 2 because our current race leader Rassam is leading the Tier 2 class. But with Jules getting slightly caught up behind Armar, it's allowed Saviour to open up a little bit of a gap, but looks like Jules is reeling that back in. He's got it to 8/10, so he'll have DRS on the run down to turn 1. But now Armar's got the likes of Ant and Bobo tucked up behind him as Ant sets the fastest lap of a 16.4 and also 5th place. I don't think Bobo will make the move neither, so Bobo will have to sit behind Armar's RB, but he instantly pulls over to the right hand side with DRS and slips through back up to P6. I wonder how much further Armar's going to take those hard tyres. It's lap 18 of 36. Saviour's focus now is the 3.1 second, well, 3 second gap to Ben, which has been slowly coming down bit by bit. Ben has been on those medium tyres since I think it's lap 5 or lap 6. Can't see him getting those tyres to the end as he's crawling in. Rassam up the road as well as Ant sets another fastest lap, 16.1. So the driver on the charge at the moment is Ant in the Ferrari. As he's got Jules in his sights, who's sat behind Saviour as Ant's really closed up under braking. Ant looking the stronger of the drivers at this moment, setting the 2 fastest laps back to back, using as much of the hard tyre because they do tend to last. As Saviour reeling in Ben.
Yeah, I was about to say they are almost within the DRS range of Ben now, whose pace are again going off now, so you can really see that the mediums are nice for 10 laps maybe, but cannot even go half of the race distance with them, because yeah, they are going off very quickly. On the other hand, the hard tires are lasting very, very long, so Saviour and so on will be able to go to the end on them. Although I'm expecting Ben to hit again in the next few laps.
Airways with a bit of a heads up in the YouTube chat, explaining why Chris was so far down after his stop, is he lost his end plate before entering the pit lane. So that moment we saw on the way out of the stadium section, he must have clipped the wall and lost an end plate, which explains why he's on his own down in P8, 9 seconds off Armar, but carrying those 6 seconds as well. So Chris will be looking to just get to the end of this one, as it's really hotting up now. Rassam pits, Ben dives in as well, but Saviour will get DRS, so that'll help him. So Saviour, Jules and Ant up to first, second and third. So Ben has had to go for that 2-stop. My guess is he'll probably be on another set of medium tyres, but then again, how will they feel towards the end? There's Chris up to P5, but on his own as we're looking at the front three. Saviour getting a bit of an awkward line, as I think he slightly outbroke himself, which allowed Jules to close up. Bobo 3.5 seconds behind these three. We'll drop back to Ant so we get to see all three of them all in shot as they come through the stadium section. Ant looking very close to Jules, but Jules will have DRS, which will save him. See what Ant can do on the run down to turn 1, but Jules is closing in on the Sauber ahead of Saviour. Pulls to the right hand side. Ant does as well to keep that toe. Jules takes the lead from Saviour. Ant has to slot back in third.
Oh,
but because
he almost lost it.
Yeah, he had a bit of a moment there, but kept the car pointing the right way. Very well held.
Yeah, he wanted to go for a move, I think, but a little bit too much risk, and then he had to, back out and prevent the car from spinning.
Yeah, squirrely moment. If it weren't for that, I reckon he probably could have had a look at Saviour, but unfortunately he couldn't. As now it's going to be Jules that'll be the target, because he's at the front of this three and will have no DRS. So Saviour and Ant, or Saviour most likely, he will be lining up a move back into first place into turn 1, DRS open, toe as well. Jules defends the inside, but Saviour sweeps past on the outside before the corner, as Ben sets a 16.0 to set the fastest lap on a brand new set of medium tyres, as he's looking to attack Chris, but we're focusing on the battle for first, second and third on track. Saviour ahead of Jules, ahead of Ant, Sauber, RB, Ferrari. Through the S's, Ant looks to be closer to Jules, and Jules is closer to Saviour. Ant keeps popping himself out to let Jules know that he's there, showing his hand. But Saviour's really got a good run out the final corners, and I think Jules could be under more pressure from Ant. But Jules with the DRS will keep Ant behind. I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move on Saviour into 1. Nope. So he'll be sitting behind Saviour and hoping to either have a look or get close enough to Saviour with DRS as we enter the second sector. Ant, ever so patient, just sat at the back of these three. Jules carrying the 3 seconds as well. And while we think about it, we have a little look at the penalty situation. Jules carrying that 3 as Chris is now added to another, so he's up to 9. But everybody else that has them is on 3. Jules on 3, Rassam's on 3, Baby Hornet's on 3. Well, speaking of Rassam, he's just made it 6. There's this Baby Hornet's on 3, Lorpy and Single Track also on 3. That's the penalties at this moment in time. As it seems to be a little bit of a stalemate with the front 3. Because Saviour's doing enough to open up around about a 7/10 gap out of the final corner, which seems to be enough. As Ant's already having a look at Jules for P2. On the outside, Jules will have the inside, but it'll become the inside for Ant. Ant gets it. Jules down to 3rd.
No, if
So now
they continue to fight like that, Ben will be delighted about this. I mean, for the moment, he's about 14 seconds away from them, but of course he's catching them quite rapidly. Although I don't think that in 5, 6, 7 laps he's gonna have a tire advantage anymore. So you really need to close in on them now.
yeah, he's got Rassam.
I'm not sure about the medium tires, as I said.
No, you got a point, because there's still 10 laps plus the final lap as well. So we've got 10 laps plus 1. It's 26 or 36. So he's still got quite a bit to go on those medium tyres. So, as you're saying, Stefan, is he going to have the tyre life left? As he's getting really feisty for the front now, as Ant's looking very attacking behind Saviour. Jules doesn't seem to be happy at this point. Oh, we have a yellow flag in the middle sector, and we have a full safety car. I think that's B17 has brought it out in the S's.
Front wing.
This, it does, it shakes everything up now. What are people going to decide? Are they going to put a fresh set on, look at the medium tyres, or are they going to decide to stay out? Saviour's in, Ant's in, Jules is in. Will Bobo see that and follow suit? Yes, he does. So that's Bobo in as well. This really works into Ben's favour, but the problem is, though, he's only got, I think, soft tyres and hard left, because he's used both sets of the medium tyres. He's only got softs or hards left. As Rassam's DNF'd. Don't know where that's happened. Don't know what's happened there. Rassam out. I wonder if that was in the pit lane.
Maybe.
Because he wasn't that far off of Ben on the... So Rassam out after he was having such a strong race. He was leading tier 2 throughout. But with Rassam retiring, that now puts Armar ahead of tier 2. We've got Saviour leading overall and also leading tier 1. And we've got Smith ahead of B17. So Smith leads tier 3. So those are the 3 respected leaders of each tier. We've got our first safety car, and we've also had our first retirement on lap 27. So everything will get nullified behind the safety car, and it also gives everyone a chance to take a breather. Interesting race so far, Stefan, because I think it has been. We've had plenty of scraps, whether it's up and down the grid, and a good fight at the front as well.
Yes, I would say so. I mean, we don't have a full grid, unfortunately, the 14 drivers, but still we are seeing lots of overtakes. And a very clean race. I mean, this was really the first big yellow flag, the first big incident.
Yeah, we've had moments here and there with people losing bits of wing, especially in that middle sector. Lots of B17 who's brought the safety car out as well. We had Baby Hornet earlier on in the race losing an end plate in the middle sector. We had Chris losing an end plate in the final part of the lap. So plenty of drivers struggling at certain points of the stages of the race. As while we're under safety car, we'll see how everyone's faring from their starting positions. Biggest gainer is Ant in P2. He's up 8 places from where he qualified. Saviour, who leads, has gone up 2 places. Jules down 1. He started. Bobo up 1 from his starting place. Ben down 4. He was the pole sitter. Currently sat in P5. Chris down 2. He's in 6th. Baby Hornet down in 7th. He's 1 place down from his starting spot. Armar's up 4 in P8. Lorpy's up 2 in P9. Soze's dropped 2. He's in 10th. Single Track, who's just pitted, is down 2 places. He's in 11th. And then the last 2 runners, the 2 Tier 3 runners, are both up 1 place from their starting places. Schmidt 12th and B17 13th. They're upper places from their start. The question is, how long will the safety car be out for? Because we've got Single Track coming through the first 3 corners. We've got Schmidt going down the start-finish straight. And we've got an out of position B17, I would say, somewhere in that train.
Yeah, he's at the back of the train for the moment. A bit unlucky. If he stayed out, he could have unlocked himself if he needed to hit it. So, yeah. Fortunately,
Yeah,
the game
so
let him unlock himself.
yeah, we haven't got that. As safety car is in. Safety car will be coming in.
Yeah, but I think Smith will still be able to catch up.
I think he'll just catch it. He's nearly there. Saviour will control this restart.
Interesting, we have different tyre choices. Some drivers actually choose soft tyres, although we saw that Ben had to pit after just 5 laps. Oh, Baby Hornet hit Chris a little bit.
Yeah, everyone getting bunched up in that stadium section. As Saviour's got us underway, as we're having a quick look at what tyres people are on. Almost an even split, but most drivers on the medium tyres. As we're back, green flag. Saviour with a strong start, but Jules already on the attack on Ant. Ant defends the outside. But Jules is still there. But Ant holds on to second.
Oh, try to take a run of it. But he's a little bit boxed in between Ant and Jules, but looks as if he's able to hold on to P3. Yes, he is.
Yeah, Bobo slices his way up to P3. Ben's up to P4. Jules losing 2 places. But Bobo and Ben on those soft tyres, so they're going to be looking very racy at this point. But as we saw at the start, Ben started on the soft tyres, but he dropped off within about, or is it 4 or 5 laps? And we've got slightly more than that as we go on to lap 31. DRS enabled. Not at this part of the track though. So I'll wait till the end of the lap for the second DRS zone. It looks like Chris was having a little shape up of a move behind Jules. Chris on the medium tyres. I'm guessing those that took the medium tyres have took the safer option. Those that decided to go soft for the more aggressive, as Ben's having a look at Bobo. Audacious move. But Bobo's going to be... Yeah, he backed out of it. He must have watched that Mexico race with Max and Lando when they went off track through there.
Yeah, it's not a race to launch over here.
Saviour controlling out front very, very well. But Ant will have DRS as we have the long drag towards turn 1. Rear wing open on the Ferrari. But we're going to drop back to Ben, who's on a right go at Bobo, who's defending the inside. Forcing Ben around the outside, but Ben makes the move stick. And that's Ben up to P3. Saviour still holding well up front. But Ant's going to be coming under some pressure from a soft shot Williams. Front 7. Pulling away from Lorpy in 8th. Who's got a gap to Soze. But we're focusing on the front 7 cars. But the front 4 specifically, because those 4 have no penalties. So those 4 are racing for position. As Baby Hornet picks up another 3 seconds on the way out of the stadium. Saviour seems to get enough of a gap out the final corner that even with DRS, Ant just cannot get close enough. So Saviour's doing enough to get a gap where Ant cannot close before turn 1. As Jules picks up another 3 seconds, he is now on 6. As Ben with a lock up, having a little look at Ant. Real tight amongst the fronts. Very clean. Those soft tyres still working very well. But for how much longer is the question. As will be 2 laps plus 1 at the end of this one, lap 34. And looking a little closer this time, but will he be close enough down towards turn 1? Or is Saviour doing enough to hold him off again? And still closing in, but not close enough. And these front 3 slowly eking out on Bobo. He's 9 tenths behind these 3. And Saviour and Ben pushing very hard in these closing stages. But Saviour holding station in first and keeping a firm grip on it as well. As they're coming through the S's and then towards the stadium.
It's raining.
It is, I can see droplets.
Yes. I thought I saw something else on my eyes, but my mind was thinking about it.
No, it's not. Raining. It is raining. Ben's gone for it. Ben's dove into the pits.
Oh, that's really risky. I mean, with 2 laps. So.
Yeah, lap 35 or 36. We have a yellow flag.
Oh, his teammate spun single track. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Grip is fading away now.
Track looks... Oh, single track, 10 seconds.
Oh, that's really...
And he's retired as well.
Going for the move now on Saviour. That could be very important.
Yep. Saviour trying to hold on to it.
Yeah, no. I think that could be crucial because DRS might be disabled soon.
We don't know. The track doesn't look greasy yet. It still looks relatively dry. But a little slide by Ant. This is going to be a really, really interesting final lap. Here in Mexico. Little squirrely moment again for Ant on the way into the stadium. But Saviour will looks to have DRS for this final lap. So has Ant gone early? That's the question. I think Ant went too early. Because Saviour's going to have DRS on the run down to turn 1. And he's going to be using everything. He's moved to the left-hand side of the Ferrari and he's through. And he'll have DRS as well for this second.
A really good exit. Maybe.
Yes, he does. He's alongside, but the DRS saves Saviour.
Yeah. See how strong it is.
Oh, he's gone for an audacious one. Saviour's Ants took advantage of Saviour's moment. They're fighting, they're struggling for grip.
They're going side by side. They're actually doing this. They're still side by side. Oh, contact.
Ooh.
Wow. Now Ants got DRS. I mean, oh my god, I can't believe we are witnessing such a finish.
Careful, boys. Jules is there though, but he's carrying those penalties though. But Saviour has held on. We'll come round the final corner.
Yeah.
Saviour wins. Ant second. Jules third. Chris fourth, but Chris will drop to fifth. Jules will get fourth place. What a finish we had. Ant and Saviour take a bow. That was some incredible fighting in that middle sector on that last lap. As we wait for the
line and P10, yeah.
Ben's crossed the line. We're just waiting for Smith and B17. But what a final lap between Ant and Saviour. You two, phenomenal final lap. As the track definitely looks greasy now, so no surprise those two were fighting for grip on that last lap. Ant gets driver of the day, and that's quite a shout. That is quite a shout, and I'm kind of easing towards that from the game, but phenomenal final lap. Bobo takes third place and the final podium place. So Saviour, Ant, Bobo, the podium 3. As we'll run through the provisional order, barring stewarding, Saviour wins, Ant second, Bobo third. Jules 4th, Soze comes home 5th, Chris comes home in 6th, Armar takes 7th, and the Tier 2 win. Baby Hornet P8, Lorpy P9. Ben, starting on pole, finds himself in P10. Smith P11 and wins in Tier 3. B17 came over the line in 12th, and then the non-finishers single track classified 2 laps down, and then Rassam, the only non-classified runner out of the 14. Before we discuss about driver of the day, which I'm slowly leaning towards, and that was a phenomenal final lap between Xavier and Ant, both attacking and defending as hard as they dare, but also very clean, which is what we like to see.
You're absolutely right. I mean, just 2 laps prior to that, I said that, oh, this is not a place to go for a move. But then they are doing it. And not
Xavier and Ant were going.
They're doing this for the lead on the last lap. So, insane stuff. And they kept it clean. Like, well, hats off to them.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I'm leaning towards Ant for driver of the day. He started P10, and he was very close to the race win. Just that Xavier managed to hold on. But the way Xavier held on to that first place for as long as he did, and even fending off Ant on that last lap. Yes, they were swapping that first place pretty much corner after corner. But actually, I'm going to give it to both, my vote to both Ant and Xavier, especially for that final lap duel. So I'm going to give my vote to those two.
I think I agree with you. It was extraordinary. Really, really congrats to them. They did very well.
Yeah, so it's a joint driver of the day for both Xavier and Ant, the top two in this race. That is it from Mexico City, the Mexico Grand Prix. This was the 5th and final race at this part of the calendar. We now move on to Brazil, Sao Paulo. Friday, MRCX, 7:30. Tier 2, 7 o'clock on Monday. Tier 1, 8:45 on a Monday. And then it'll be Wednesday, 7 o'clock for Tier 3 and 8:45 for these boys to go out on track again at 8:45 MRCX on Wednesday. Again, second race at Mexico. Comms box with you, Stefan. Absolutely enjoyed it.
Me too. Yeah, it was great that we could do it twice on such a nice track. So yeah, I'm really happy about it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, that is it from Mexico. Round 9 Brazil. I've said the dates and the times, so if you enjoy the racing that we do here in MRC, like and subscribe, and also make sure you hit that bell to get the notification when we go live and racing with the 5 red lights. So that is it from myself and Stefan. So keep an eye out. Friday, 7 o'clock, MRCX, Sao Paulo, which I think is a one-shot qualifying and a 100% race. So you get plenty of racing around the Autodromo Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo. So look forward to that one. So good night from both me and Stefan.